Welcome to Jim's Catfishing and Gear. Today we're out here in my yard. We're going fishing though, don't worry. I'm actually planning a trip tomorrow. It's very windy. It's been windy a lot out here, and if you're going to come to Lake Moultrie and fish, expect it to be windy. It's more windy than it's not. So I'm going to show you a couple of things today that will help you when you get out here on Santee Cooper, Lake Moultrie, to prepare for a windy day. The first thing I'm going to tell you is if you're going to come to Santee Cooper, expect it to be windy. Have a boat, have skills ready for that. It can be a dangerous place, it can be a scary place. So the first thing I'm going to show you on my boat, when I looked at getting a bigger boat from the tracker, the first thing I looked for was a deep V. You can see this boat has a very deep V. The front of this boat is lower than the back. That helps tremendously on, rough conditions. It's going to keep your boat level, stable when you're drifting. If you're going to drift fish, it's going to keep the boat from rocking side to side so much. The first thing I did when I got this boat was put trim tabs on it. This is going to help a lot in rough water. This is going to keep your boat level. It's going to keep it from rocking side to side. You'll even be able to tell when you come up on another boat's wake, you don't get that rock side to side so bad. You're going to get the ones that's for your motor size. So if your motor is like a 50 to 115, it'll probably be a size. If it's bigger than that, it's going to be a size, and they're adjustable. These are pretty much at the weakest setting. The higher the setting you go, the more drag it's going to create. So these are kind of like almost too big for this boat, but they work. Any higher setting and it slows the boat down actually about 10 miles per hour. It can have that much of an effect. So if you overdo the size of the trim tabs, you're going to lose boat performance. So their purpose is to get you on plane quicker, which this boat really doesn't have an issue with that, but it's going to just give you a stable ride in rough water. You definitely not only want to have a motor you can rely on, because you don't want to get out into open water. You got on the Lake Moultrie, if you're going to drift in the center of it, you could be as far as 2 or 3 miles out. It's almost going out in the ocean or something. But have a motor that's reliable. You don't want to get out there and have motor problems in big waves. You're going to have a bad day. A big trolling motor is going to help. In big waves, rough conditions, if you're going to troll, yeah, you're drifting with the waves, but you're still going to want this trolling motor to have plenty of power to be able to spin the boat around, to get you in and out of waves if you need to. The bigger you can go on your trolling motor, the better. So having a good motor you can rely on is a must, but also a battery system that you can depend on is also a must. So I've got the Dakota lithium crank battery, and I run my fish finder on that also. And since I do have the active target, and it's a pretty decent sized fish finder screen, it pulls a lot of current. So I got the lithium battery. I can rely on it, depend on it, and I got the Dakota lithium dashboard. And you don't have to get nothing like this. You can just get a battery voltage meter. Now that's going to help you a lot, because you start drifting. If your fish finder is connected to your crank battery, you lose track of time. You got, especially Santee, you'll drift one run to be 2-3 hours. I mean, an average day for me, I'll drift 2-3 runs. And that's a day of drifting out there if I just continue to run the same path. So get you a battery voltage meter, something that you can watch your voltage, see what you got left on your voltage. That way you don't run into a problem. You go to crank your boat and it don't crank, because you don't want to get out there in those waves, 3-foot, 4-foot waves sometimes. Especially tomorrow, it's supposed to be like 12-14 mile per hour winds. We're going to drift it, but we want to make sure that we've got everything ready to go. We just don't want to go out there and get into a bad situation. If you're going to drift, you got to have a drift sock. Easterland makes the best drift socks. I've had this one about 3 years. Not a snag, not a tear, not a rip. The guy who makes these, him and his wife, they fish Santee. They fish tournaments every weekend. They know what the lake can do, so they make these drift socks capable. And he don't sponsor me. He's just a super nice guy. I actually talked to him a couple of days ago. When you set this thing up, you can need a rope, definitely. For this boat, I just use 1 Easterland, and on the roughest days, it could be 15-20 miles per hour. It'll slow my boat down to like 0.3. I've actually got the end opened up a little bit to let more water through it, because this thing will stop your boat. When they call it a sea anchor, they mean anchor. They're not lying. So I basically hook the drift sock end right onto there, and I got an end for each, and I just put one here, and you just throw it out the back. This is your recovery line to pull your drift sock back in. When it's real rough, you don't want to be goofing around with this drift sock. If you need to get the conditions get too bad, these things can really be hard to pull in. So a long recovery rope that you can also hook right there and just pull it, flip it around, and get it out. If you've got a drift sock that doesn't have a long line, put a longer line on it. You'll be glad you did. It will save you so much time, energy getting these things pulled in the boat. Okay, now that I've scared the crap out of you, you can come to Moultrie. They're great catfish here. Just don't go beyond your skill level. If you come out the first time, take it kind of easy. Maybe learn things a little bit. We're going fishing. The boat's hooked up and ready to go. So I'm going to meet you on the boat. It's going to be rough, so hold on tight. And I'm going to show you a couple more things out there to get set up to start drifting on Lake Moultrie in very rough conditions. So of course, when it's windy like this, you want to go with the waves. You can see we got a nice slow roll with the waves. We got our small about 54-inch drift socks out. We're going 0.5, 0.4. That's really good speed. So when you drift, you want to try to find, you know, the point where you want to drift, and you're going to have to swing way out around. Give yourself plenty of leeway, because in the beginning when I started drift fishing, I'm like, I want to go to this point, say right here, I want to start drifting. So I would go right there. By the time I would get everything set up, I'm way over here somewhere just because of the waves. So where I actually started was about there. By the time I got my drift socks out and my lines, I was about to the position where I wanted to start. So keep that in mind when drifting, when it's, you know, pretty windy. It's not as bad on this side. It's a north wind, so we're on the north side of the lake. Over on the south side, it'd be a lot bigger wave. So we get to about the channel markers in the lake, it'll probably be a lot bigger waves. We may drift faster than we want to. So at that point, we'll either put on our big drift sock, or we'll just turn around and run this a different area. You know, you can't hit it all in one pass. So haven't marked any fish on the fish finder yet. It has been kind of a slower bite. I did catch a couple of decent sized eater, I guess you could say, catfish a couple of afternoons ago. I didn't post the video. I just didn't think it was that interesting. So we're gonna try to make it happen today, try to get out some content. I got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of people viewing the channel. I did change the name of the channel, and I probably did say welcome to Fishing and Gear. I'm so used to saying it. It's Jim's Catfishing and Gear, and just for putting in catfishing in the name of the channel, I picked up like about, I'd say 400 or 500 subscribers just by doing that. And my views are up. There a lot of people's coming in, they're looking at a lot of the old videos, so it's helped for people to find the channel. So that was the name, that was the reason of the name change. So let's keep rolling along. We're gonna fish a good bit today and see if we can get on some catfish. Stay tuned. I think I gotta take down, either gotta take down our snag. It feels like a fish though. Pulled pretty good. Might be something. Can't tell if it's still on there. Might have come off. There's definitely a fish on there. I'm kind of fighting the planer board right now too, so I can't tell. This planer board up in the water. Just tell my brother that fish got off, and I was just saying, I hooked a decent amount of fish. He's still on there. I hooked a decent amount of fish, and they just seem so finicky. They just let go. But he's still on there. I'm sorry for the camera view. I got this top on the boat. That's a good fish. That's a pretty good fish. Right under the boats. Okay, not too bad. We got first fish. We've been drifting about an hour. I think it's been slow going, and I was telling David, I got my brother in my ear here, my headset. I thought he let go. He swam like really fast right toward the boat. You can see it's like I'm dancing on the boat. There's some waves out here. But he swam really fast to the boat, and I got a lot of slack, and then, but he was still there. He almost went under the boat. Let's get him unhooked and take a good look at it. I don't know what he weighs. Good fish though, good fight. I definitely enjoyed it. I can say it was worth the effort, but to me it was. Yeah, this is probably the biggest one I've caught in a month. It's just been a little slow, but we get to get him back in the water and just keep running this line. It seems to be working. Let's get him back in.